Hello there from Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This is probably about the last in a series of videos about change orders, and one of the last things I like to do after I do several demonstrations is go take a look at the current estimated costs at completion for the job I've been working on in my demos. And that screen, as you'll see in a minute, is one of the screens I say is one of the big reasons for having a program like CHS. But first, before we go there, I'd like to click on the change orders button one more time, and I've added some words up here that say tip. Remember to enter your estimated costs on the change order lines in addition to the buyer's price. If your estimated costs are not entered for change orders, they will not show up on your estimated costs at completion worksheet. That worksheet is about your estimated costs, and if you don't enter an estimated cost for change orders, they will not show up. So you do need to do that. In all my videos, I've been showing how I'm entering an estimated cost and even issuing POs for those estimated costs of the change orders, and that's your cost, not the cost to the buyer. Typically, your estimated cost for a change order will, of course, be less than the price you charge the buyer for the change order. So you don't just want to enter a price for the buyer for a change order. You need to enter the estimated cost. That's what this program is all about, is you tracking and looking at what you're expecting your cost to be and so on. And so you need the cost in there. It's like a mini budget when you enter your estimated cost for a change order. And I've just had a few people once in a while call and say, why doesn't the change order show up on my estimated cost of completion? And it will turn out that they did not enter any estimated cost for that change order. I do allow you to leave a zero there because there's times when for some reason you don't think it is going to cost you anything, but you are giving them a change order for some reason to charge them a price for something that's really not going to charge you anything. Who knows why, but there's once in a while that does seem to happen. So anyway, let's go home and let's click this button for budget/estimates. And let it bring in all the jobs with budgets, and jobs without budget. Our job does have budget, but what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to go to the estimated cost at completion worksheet, which we refer to as ECC for convenience. We've seen it a few other times, and if you've been watching all the various videos about job costing and so on in order. We did one after we did the budget and did a little bit of stuff there, and then we talked about the ECC again after we issued a bunch of just sort of budgeted purchase orders, etc. So this time, in looking at this estimated cost of completion worksheet, which shows your original budget amounts for all your cost codes, and then change orders amounts, estimated cost of your change orders, and then a total revised budget, which is your budget plus your change orders. And you look at that and various things are happening. Like if you issue, let's go to just a real simple one down here. Maybe I can find that we did a change order for. We budgeted $1,500 for front door, and then in our various demos we were doing a change order for some additional stuff on that front door, so that our revised budget is $2,250. And right now, and we also just issued POs for that too, so they're not over or under or anything. And so the estimated cost at completion right now is the $2,250. Notice how, because if I drill down on this change order, I can see that we did an estimated cost of $750 and we did a price of $937.50. But if I'd left this estimated cost at zero, then that's what would show up in this column, is zero as my estimated cost. So you can see how important it is to go ahead and estimate your costs for your change orders so you can see what's happening to your current estimated cost at completion. Notice in this case on exterior doors we did have a change order that caused the revised budget to be $3,300, $3,000 plus $300, but then we issued purchase orders, which you can drill down on, for a higher amount. Maybe after we sort of budgeted for that original, we did enter a purchase order for the same amount as the change order. You can see that here. But the purchase order we issued for exterior doors before the change order was a little higher, and that's driving your estimated cost at completion up because there are purchase orders or I mean down, because you issued, I'm sorry, I'm talking backwards. You issued purchase orders for less. If you drill down, you budgeted 3,000, but you only issued a purchase order for 2,900. And then you check marked it. We've check marked this one to use this lower PO amount as our ECC. If it's unchecked, you'll see that we'll be back at the 3,300 here in a second. This is a lower amount, and it'll use the higher amount unless you tell it. This is what we're going to pay, is this 3277. So let's check mark that and get that back to like what it was. But you can see how you can see the effects of the various change orders that we've done here. We were exchanging, and we did a change order credit for the ceramic tile floor in the foyer because the buyer decided to change it to hardwood, which was going to cost a little more. And in one of our demos about change order credits, we were showing you that. And you can see how now, because of the change order, our estimated cost at completion is $2,200 for ceramic tile floors in that house rather than $2,800. And we've increased the estimated cost of our hardwood turnkey, and CHS is automatically figuring out what your ECC is for you by opening this worksheet. I want to go back up here because in one of my earlier demos about purchase orders, etc., I issued a variance purchase order, and you can see that right here for plan costs. And then while I've been doing change orders and trying to talk about them, I've been showing you how we did enter a bill for that $1,000, but that we kept it separate, and we did some alerting about how this was over our original PO, etc. And it's still, if you drill down on the actual costs that have been posted, and I was advising you put that on a separate line in case you decide not to pay it. You can still see that this is currently unpaid. Both paid and unpaid costs that you've posted to accounts payable will show up as your actual costs. And what I'd like to do is show you how to go ahead and get rid of that and the variance PO that went with it, because maybe you really have had a good hard talk with the architect and you said, I'm not going to pay that. You originally told me this 15.5 or whatever, not this additional 1,000 that you suddenly came up with. So while you're here and you're noticing this $1,000 over budget, which has to do with that variance PO and entering that actual cost, you can drill down, figure out where that is, go home. It's in unpaid payables. We'll select that particular architect. We'll open the unpaid payables, and we have decided we are not going to pay that. We don't even want it here at all, and because it's unpaid, I can click the X button and I can continue to delete this record, and it's been deleted. Now what I'd like to show you, if I close this window and I jump back to the ECC and let's refresh it, then we'll go back to this plan cost here. Now it's still showing 1,000 over, even though I've made my actual cost less, and that's because of the POs that I have out there, one of them being a $1,000 PO for a variance PO. And so I can see that here, I can see that it's the variance, so I can drill down on it and open that PO. It shows no posted costs attached to it anymore. And if there were posted costs, it really wouldn't let you delete this PO, but I'm going to go ahead and delete the PO. We said it was an estimating error of ours, so the architect might not have agreed to this, but we'll play like in our world. They agreed that we could pay that. We didn't have to pay that $1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that purchase order. And so I was showing you how you can drill right down to the PO amounts and see the actual costs applied to them, etc. From the estimated cost at completion worksheet. It's now refreshing the data for me. So it's showing this 16,125 plus the 675 change order as my total budget, but I've only issued POs for 16,175, which is a little less. And the PO we originally gave the architect was for 15.5. We did do the same amount here. So we know we're not going to pay the architect any more than what we've got POs for. And we see that we've already posted our actual cost for that. And that's all we're going to pay. We've been talking with the architect, etc. So I'm going to check mark this as done. And you can see that now our ECC is the same amount as the actual costs. And we know, and we're saying we're not going to get any more costs or pay any more costs by marking these costs as being done. If I refresh my totals, my over budget amount for all these lines got to be a lot less than it was before, because I don't have that $1,000 over. In fact, I have an amount under my original budget, because we did this budget, but then we talked to the architect. We gave him a PO for 15.5, and then we did a change order and gave him a PO for 675, which is that 16,175. That's all we're posting as costs, which means actually, because we budgeted a little more than what the architect was asking for when we finally talked to him, we are under budget on that line now. I just wanted to get rid of that thing that I kept talking about. Here's a variance PO, making this look odd and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't need that variance PO anymore that I used for demoing. But you get the idea of how important it is to estimate your cost for your change order. Like this line, it's good to have that. If we hadn't posted the cost yet of that 675, we could still see that our estimated cost of completion was 16,175. Thank you for watching. I'm probably going to attach a report of this estimated cost at completion, which you can get up here, and I'll attach it to the help stuff. And it's just estimated ECC with all notes. I'll probably do that one because it'll take a little bit, because we're bringing in the various notes that you typed during budgeting, etc. It's showing the original budget, all the things from the ECC. If actual costs are done, you will see an X there, so we should see that on our plan costs here, a little X that we mark the actual cost as being done, and so on. So thank you for watching, and I'll attach this report so it's something that you could sort of look over and see how handy it is that you can see the budget notes and everything else on this estimated cost of completion report. Bye-bye.